Hello, good sir. How are
Hey, what's up,
you?
man? I'm good. How you doing?
Mr. James Frederick Spake,
Oh yeah.
director of A Rift Apart, which screened May 31st at our festival. And I have to say it was one of the standouts. There were several films that brought something special. One of them was yours, but yours not only was it cerebral, which made it different, um, the style of storytelling was particularly unique. It didn't there was no other film that had your style of storytelling. And so for that reason, good sir, you were awarded the best overall narrative short film of over 400 submissions.
Well, that is quite an honor, and yeah, thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you and welcome. So let's dive in. Let's dive in. I'll have some questions just about you personally, and then kind of get into the process of the short, and then talk a little bit more like where you want to go in this career. Um, so my first question, almost to every filmmaker I've had, is this your first, or have you done some and then kind of got to this one? How did that come into play?
So, I am essentially like all new to this. This is officially my first one. I Yeah, I've done two 48s before, and that's kind of what inspired me to do this. Before that, I had written and directed, I think about five micro shorts, and that was essentially just to come up with a demo reel because I'm an actor also, and I
Yep.
didn't want to pay, $1,200 or whatever. So yeah, one thing led to another, and working as an actor on, bigger sets as well as smaller sets, I just made friends with a lot of crew members. I asked questions, where appropriate, and I learned a lot of things. And yeah, I made a lot of good friends who are resources who I can reach out to, and if they're available, they come out and work on my sets. So I'm grateful for that.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean that's the way to do it. And I've said this to the other filmmakers is something that we all have the same is that we start out with some smaller things. We're exploring, we're diving into our style and trying to figure out our voice, and what's our niche essentially. How did you specifically come to the niche of doing the kinds of stories that you tell?
So with A Rift Apart, since it, was going to be my first kind of big one in front of,
Mhm.
a lot of people, I wanted to tell a story that a lot of people could relate to. I mean, I'm sure everyone at some point in their lives feels a little bit of, depression or angst or anxiety.
Mhm.
And I wanted to touch on that note to kind of, let people know they're not alone, but also, um, like I wanted to capture something that a lot of people deal with and show it in a very artistic way.
Yep.
I mean, I think that's kind of the answer in a nutshell.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. I just think it's so interesting that you took it to a very cerebral place.
Mm.
And like it's the film feels like you're traveling through someone's mind in a lot of ways. It's crazy. And that's what made it so unique. And it's everything about it is like the beginning aspect where you're thrusted in and you're like you get a slice of life of this woman.
Mm.
It sets you up for the next part to come, but it complements everything in the project complements everything else, and the way you set it up is done really well. And then you use the phrase and the wording, "I'm still here,"
Yeah.
which is it seems like a very powerful point of the short in a way in itself. Does that tie back into like the film itself, like sharing this? this feeling of people feeling that like they're lonely, going through something. I imagine that's what that was all about.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, you know, when people get in those states of mind, they feel alone. And the one reminder is like, I'm still here. I'm still here. You know, you want people to see you.
Yeah,
And I wanted that to come across. And, you know, throughout the film, you see it in different places, you know, whether
yeah.
on someone's sign or like,
Mhm.
you know, one character saying it or another. When I started writing that script, I wanted to have something where like I would drop hints throughout, and then once you get to the end, it's like, oh, now it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so that was a really fun part of writing the script. My next favorite part of writing it was like, I don't want to give anything away to anyone who hasn't seen it yet, but the kind of, you know, the twists or whatever.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah, so
that and a lot of these great shorts that stand out had something at the end, but it wasn't just a twist. It was like every time you think the short was leading you somewhere and you thought you knew it was going, nope, that's not where it's going. And I really enjoyed that. It wasn't nothing I can get ahead of it. You had to really go through it all to like experience what it's about, and I love that it's not like hitting you over the head with a message. It's like it's part surreal, cerebral, and just there's an aspect to it that like takes everyday life and makes it into art, and I guess there's a saying that, the best art reflects the reality we live in, it says something. And I think you've done such an incredible job of saying something. Like you had something to say, and it was really conveyed through it. And like I said, a lot of the great shorts we had this year had something to say. Um, and I noticed at the end you had a message that said, for those who struggle, for those who what is it, support, and for those who remember.
yeah.
So so my curiosity is, like, I guess you just said it, but I was always wondering, like, is this tied to a specific like mental illness, like something, serious? But it seems like it can fit for generally really anyone struggling through anything like pain, depression, anxiety, like you said. So
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. I mean, I found it incredible for sure.
um, Thank you. It is I wrote it, that end piece or whatever, to be kind of general, but it does, you know, lean towards sadness. You know,
Mhm.
it's for everyone that struggles. It's for everyone, you know, that supports those who struggle, and it's for the people, you know, that we've unfortunately maybe lost and that we remember now.
Sure.
So yeah, it's for all those people that felt they didn't have a voice.
Yeah. It's definitely felt, and so what was the process of, I guess you kind of mentioned how you were kind of already working on some little projects, micro shorts, and finding people. I'm assuming that's where these people fit in into your project, were just people that you worked in the past.
Yeah, people that I've worked on sets with, either as actors or like me as an actor, and then I just, you know, befriend the crew after a while.
Yeah.
And you know, like I share my ideas, they dig them, some don't, and then the ones that do, I'm like, yes, let's do it.
Yeah, yeah. That's great. I mean, that's great that you found the people that looked at, I'm assuming, your script or something, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm on board. That's great." That they get it, or they get something out of it and they go, "Yeah, I can do this. I can be a part of this."
Yeah.
Uh I was gonna
I,
ask, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say real quick, like the there was one person who really, really, really pushed me and inspired me to just move forward with all this, essentially, or initially, I mean.
Uh-huh.
I was on a movie set last year, or about a year and a half ago, called Brian, as a stand-in, and I was on there for like the entire time. I think it was about 21 days or so.
Oh wow.
I became friends with the writer on that. And,
Hmm.
you know, we're spending like 12, 15 hours a day together for that entire time. and we just start talking just like as human beings, not
Yeah.
as like, oh, you're the writer of this movie, I'm a stand-in or whatever. And I didn't know who this dude was until like 2 days before we wrapped the movie. And I showed him the script, and like we were sharing music and stuff like that. And he emailed me back, and he's like, "Dude, this is great. You should turn this into a movie." And I was, "Well, I don't know any directors," and he's like, "You should direct this."
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Um,
great.
and he, man, I don't know if like name dropping is like like an okay thing or
Yeah,
like.
I mean, if you genuinely had a great conversation with them, and it sounded like you did, it's not about name dropping, but it's really about, like you were saying, this person inspired you, right, and motivated you. So I think that's all good things, set aside from who this person is.
Yeah,
Um,
him and I still keep in contact, and he's obviously watched the film at this point and loved it, and
cool.
told told me to keep in contact with him, if I win any awards, and he
Yeah.
even suggested a few in New York to submit to as well, which when they come back around, I will.
Nice,
So
nice. Yeah, very good, man. That's great that well, first of all, you have the perspective of the actor. You have some time on sets, and it just looks like, you hit a point in your life where I guess you did exactly what you needed to do. Your next step was in your fate was to create this short, and who knows from this point on. This seems like this just opened up a whole new doorway for you, possibly directing more things and writing more things. I want to ask you because you did wear a lot of hats in this project.
yeah,
And obviously, I know you're an actor, so it doesn't surprise me that you acted in it. But what's surprising is were you the composer behind the short?
yes.
Yeah, okay, so let's get into that background. Let's like what's the your background in music?
So it's all tied in with acting. Like, I started acting like in first grade or around 6 years old because my big sister was an actor. And, we did some bigger commercials. She did some movies, a lot of stage stuff. And it became so normal and so boring to me. Like I did it all until I graduated high school. It was just normal and boring.
Sure.
When I was 12, I learned how to play music. I started on bass, then like a month later guitar, then a month later drums. Um, and when I was about 24-ish, I taught myself how to play the keyboards. And that's also when kind of like the playing music professionally took off
Mhm.
for the next, I don't know, 10, 15 years or so.
Pretty cool.
Um, I did go to school for production and film scoring at ACM at UCO in Oklahoma City. And that was an entire experience on its own. It was awesome to say the least.
Cool. Yeah.
Um, but after I graduated, like thought I thought I made a mistake because I was like, man, I just spent this time and I don't want to go. I don't want to be a producer or like, a film composer or whatever.
Mhm.
And then it all just kind of like came together in this past year. I was like, wow, I can do this. Wow, I know how to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's put it all together. So yeah, it all just kind of fell together, I would say, like in this past year and a half or so.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy because like I feel like I don't know, that's so different because most people, they pursue that and they kind of know that's what they want to do. So you had a moment of doubt. That's pretty crazy. And that must have been scary in itself. Like you must have had some pretty negative thoughts, I imagine. What was like, I mean, that must have been so hard. I can't even imagine like can you maybe expand on that a little bit to share with, anybody watching?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it was a great experience. I learned a lot,
Hmm.
obviously. But so like the ACM music program is or was divided into two sections, production and performance. And at that time, even though I was studying production, I was still playing in a lot of bands and performing, one or two times a week.
Yeah.
Um, and it was like watching your friends go off and have all the fun. And then their final, project or whatever would be like some cool performance. And my final project would be sitting behind the glass in the recording studio, watching those dudes have fun,
I see. Yeah.
And, it is cool learning how to like make people sound good.
Hmm.
But in that industry, like the new gear comes out so quick. It costs so much just to keep up.
Sure.
Um, and that kind of put me off a little bit because it made me feel like I was in competition with people. And like when I'm creating art or playing or whatever, I don't want to feel that competition or anything. I want to feel
Yeah.
free playing.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense.
Uh,
And that's one of the things. Yeah, for sure. Like outside of music and just in film in general, the equipment's becoming so accessible, which is not a bad thing, but like you have, more and more people wanting to make films, which is again not a bad thing, but you're right. It starts to feel sometimes more like a competition versus like, hey, we're doing the same things, so by default we should be friends because we have the same mindset, we're interested in the same things, but I find that's not necessarily true. I find that most people want to live in their bubble. I don't know if it's because there is something special about being like, hey, I'm the artist. It makes me feel great when I can do what I feel like I'm called to do, right? And I feel like everybody goes through that. And I think people forget there are a lot of other people who experience the same thing and want to do the same thing, and especially in today's world, I think it's more important today to be collaborative, to be friends, not look at things as competitive, but look at it as, hey, because at the end of the day, everybody has their own way of how they've lived life. They find their niche. And it's almost like when we come together and we all bring something to the table that's like unique to their voice, it creates like, and for me, I can say this because I've watched all these films from around the world, and what you notice is everybody has their own voice, their own style, and they're like it just fills it in. It fills in like all the little gaps about the human experience. Everybody brings something to the table, and then the next thing you know, here's a whole representation of the human experience, and it's actually an incredible thing. And so, anyways, yeah, I agreed with you with that. That's like I think we should step away from competition because
mhm.
we don't. I mean, sure, it's natural to compete and want to be the best, but there is something to say about, hey, you're in my field. I see you struggling. Maybe we can collaborate and level each other up in some ways. And I think we're living that time right now as those kinds of artists. Um, anyways, I felt like I was speaking.
And I think you worded all that beautifully.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Um, so let's talk about your cast a little bit. Where did you find, I guess from the circle of people you worked with, but like these actors are really terrific. What's Rebecca Crockett, right?
Oh yeah.
So, how did you first meet her? And obviously, she said yes to the project, but I would love to hear, what that process was like, how she reacted to it, and also how it was working with her.
Sure. First of all, Rebecca's great. I met her just a little under a year ago on the 48 I did last year. I was looking for a couple more female characters for my film,
Hmm.
and a friend of a friend suggested her. So, without knowing each other, I sent her the script at 10 p.m. On Friday night. She drove down here from Tulsa and got here at 9 in the morning and acted all day for 12 hours, whatever.
Hmm.
And um, she played a kind of a minor role. Well, yeah, no, she played. I don't want to say a minor role because she was still like one of the main characters, but I didn't know, I hadn't seen her act before, so I didn't give her too many lines. But
Hmm.
there's this one scene that she did with my buddy Logan, who's the other guy in A Rift Apart with the long hair.
Right, right. Yeah.
There was the scene where it was just so absolutely captivating. Like they only needed to do maybe 2 or 3 takes, and all it was just to adjust the camera. That was it. Their timing and their beats, they played off each other so well. It was in that moment that I knew that I wanted to work
Yeah.
with her because she did it like right away, and then any notes I had, she was able to execute just like that. And then, I brought up my buddy Logan, who's also in A Rift Apart. I wish I could. Am I able to screen share on this?
I'm not too sure. You give it a shot. I think you can.
Uh,
I think you can. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't tried it yet, but if you want to kind of mess with the buttons, I don't know if you have like a menu button up there or somewhere,
yeah,
maybe
I'm
in
checking.
the, yeah.
Well, yeah, I can't find the option right now. I don't want to take up too much time, but like
Okay.
after we get off, I'll send you this scene, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Um,
Do you want me to add the scene into the to this interview?
oh, sure, yeah, that
You
would be
send it to
cool.
me? Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, yeah, I'll do that. I'll clip it in and then we can, I'll just edit it in there and everyone can watch it.
You're supposed to be monitoring, not interfering.
Didn't know I was supposed to be monitoring until this morning.
You are an instrument. You don't get the ability to grow conscience now.
You know? Then why does it hurt?
okay, yeah, it's only I think maybe like 20 or 30 seconds or something like that, but like you can see so much of the story in just that little bit. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay, okay. And that's, that's great. An actor that is experienced, is that's the kind of actor you want to work with. Someone who can take notes, make the
Mhm.
changes, bring it and be prepared.
Totally.
That's definitely that changes the whole, like, an actor who comes in, isn't prepared, and barely makes changes can really set the production back, until they get there.
Mhm.
So that, having that professionalism, and as an actor, as an actor, so
And
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say my buddy Logan, the her boyfriend or the guy with the long hair in A Rift Apart. I actually met him at ACM as a music student, like I think, gosh, like 16, 17 years ago, almost at this
Wow.
point. Yeah.
Wow.
Um, and so I think it's kind of interesting, kind of funny that we both, took a very similar path going from music and production and performance. And then, all these years later, we're acting. And
Yeah.
like, it's funny because I think it was my first acting class back, like maybe 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago. Um, I sat next to this dude and I looked at him. I was like, are you a musician? You look familiar. And he listed off all these bands. I was like, man, we played together before. And then, yeah, after that, we just kept in contact. And he's been in both my 48s and a couple of my micro shorts as well. So he's a good resource altogether as
So
well.
I have to say, because you have a music background,
Hmm.
it makes sense that you have the editing that you do in your short,
Mm,
because musicians know a lot about timing,
mm,
and getting things right on time. And so, like, when I watch A Rift Apart, like telling myself, like, the editing, that the work that went into this, the timing, you have to be like a musician to be able to pull this off. And that makes sense. It makes sense now that we talked about your background and whatnot. It's like it makes total sense, And so it's really cool and unique that, not only do you have acting experience and, and then the pressures of working on the 48-hour, projects, and then the musical experience, that all those things, all those like skills you have will enhance, later on the post production, like it totally makes sense, and
Mhm.
so yeah, I think that's why it is special. It's because like I was saying, every artist brings their voice and talents to a project, and it feels after speaking with you now and meeting you, at the festival, like it makes perfect sense that you would make this.
Well,
Makes
I
perfect
mean,
sense.
thanks for recognizing that. Like, I'm just discovering all this stuff myself. Like, when I was in the edit
Mhm.
with my buddy Anthony, um, he's a musician also, and he went to school for production also. Like, we both talked about the similarities from mixing music and like putting everything in place.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so it's funny how it all tied together, kind of
Yeah.
like subconsciously almost.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like all those skills are there. And then when it's time to like use them in a unique way, they're there for you to use, and you're able to like with your team and yourself. I
Mhm.
gotta ask, like, what what was it? What was it about this short that like you came to the point of, hey, let's edit it like this, the beginning part. Let's do it like this. Let's cut it like this. Let's what was how did you get there? Like what was the motivation behind that one?
Um, it, I I definitely had the pacing in mind before we jumped into it. I
Okay.
wanted I wanted that first part to feel kind of almost like slow, but then like you would have like glimpses of like really interesting things that would hold your attention, but
Yeah.
it was still just intentionally very slow to kind of show how depressing Amanda's character
Yeah.
uh, her everyday life is.
Yeah.
Um, and then, at that point when the main titles hit, like I wanted it to feel like you're jumping into a different movie to where it kind of scares the viewer, like what's going on? Like
Yeah.
I thought you were just watching this woman, and then
Right.
like
Right.
it's like why are these guys in like an interrogation room?
Right.
Um, yeah, so I guess I wrote it maybe like in three acts to where, yeah, first part's slow, second part's like a jolt in your part is like, yes, we're putting it all together, but you still don't see the full story
Right.
until like the last frame?
Yep, yep. And that's what I got from it too. And it's unique because you have like almost, is it 4 or 5 minutes of the intro and then it goes to the title, which is like
Yeah.
different. It's so different, and not even in a bad way or anything, because you did exactly what you just said was exactly what I experienced as an audience member. I was watching it and you're going through this, you get a slice of life. uh, it's like you're right. There's a slowness to her day, but the way it's cut, it feels so jumbled up in a way, like kind of staccato kind of rhythm, and
Mhm.
it like jerky, like there's something wrong. It enhances the mood of like there's something wrong here, and the lighting, the darkness, and then it goes into the title, and then you're right, it cuts into that scene. You're like, what is like a murder happened? Like what's going on? Like this like everything I felt is being paid off in a way. You don't know what's going on, but everything I was feeling is paid off in this next scene because I'm like, okay, something did happen, and we want to know what it is. And obviously we don't want to give it away, but the twist is I almost feel like there's two twists
Yeah, totally.
because like without trying to give anything away, it's like, okay, we discover this aspect, right? And then it moves on closer to the end where we feel like we're in a different place, but you leave us thinking that this other place that she's in is also not necessarily the place that she is. You know what I mean? It's like, is there more to this? Like how far down does this rabbit hole go? Kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it had like a nice, I guess you could say, kind of open-ended a little bit, kind of open-ended mystery to it. But we did understand what's going on now, even though it was like open-ended. So
Yeah.
there's just so many aspects. Like I said, it's very cerebral, and it stood out in that way. And makes a lot of sense after speaking with you now, like it makes a lot of sense. Let's talk about Logan for a little bit. I briefly heard when we were talking at the festival that he was like SAG now. Is that right? That he's like SAG? Is he part of the
Yeah,
acting? Yeah. So
yeah,
was that
he just became SAG just a little after we shot A Rift Apart.
yeah.
So yeah, he's a busy guy.
Yeah, I mean that's impressive. That's really impressive, and that's like that's all you could hope for when you work with something, when you're directing something, making something, your actors
Mm.
are moving forward, Because in a lot of ways, if they get onto something bigger, people are gonna want to know, well, what else did he do? What else did he do to get here? And so next thing you know, people are looking at your film.
Yep.
But that's great. I hope you guys can figure out a way to keep working together, moving forward. I thought you guys, even though the team wasn't like enormous necessarily, it seemed like a pretty tight team, and you could probably keep doing great things together, So, do you have some things in the works right now? I think we spoke a little bit that you did. Let's
Yeah, we spoke briefly about it, like real briefly.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm in post-production of my next short right now. It currently it's being colored and sound design, all that. Once I get a copy of that, I linked up with my old ACM composition professor, and so I'm going to be scoring alongside him, which will be a very fun project because I
Yeah,
really enjoyed all of his classes, and I just enjoy him as a musician, as a creator, an artist. So that'll be interesting. I don't want to give too much away about it, but
sure.
it's completely left field from A Rift Apart.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting. So, you're kind of exploring maybe a different genre or just like as a filmmaker, do you feel like that's what you're doing? Kind of exploring?
Yeah, I've written stories like for my entire life, but I've only kind of just narrowed it down since I've started doing this and kind of like seeing it as like maybe a possibility, you know?
Mhm.
So right when I was writing A Rift Apart, I also wrote this other story called Reminisced. Um, and it's also like a personal story. It's semi-autobiographical. Like I said, I'm not going to give away too much.
Sure.
But I will say, I guess I could give some like influences. It was influenced by the Sunset series by Linklater. Are you familiar?
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's
Okay.
really it's dialogue driven. Um, and it's about the characters and what they went through, what they're experiencing now in this moment. And then again at the end of the story, I kind of like to leave it up to the viewer to maybe finish the story in their own head. So we should have like a working copy here in the next 2 weeks, I would say. And of course, like I'll send you a private link to it so you can check it
Cool.
out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I won't say anything, but yeah, I'll love to check it out. And, I'll probably, if you're open, give you my reactions as a viewer, yeah, I'd love to participate in that for sure. Did I ask you, have you submitted to other festivals, A Rift Apart?
I have. I've submitted to, I think, just a little under 25 at this point. A lot of them are throughout the year, and there are a couple I didn't get into recently. I'm sure, like, you know what I'm talking about. But then there's some exciting ones coming up where the notification dates are like later this month or next month. And yes, some are bigger ones, some are, like ground level or smaller. I hate to say
Sure.
smaller.
You could say like B tier, C tier,
Yeah.
A tier, and that's okay. I think B tier is generally a festival that does screenings at a theater.
Mm.
I think C tier is like just streaming, and A tier is obviously like the big ones, you know. But there's nothing wrong with that, as long as people get a chance to watch it get recognized, and that's what you want. You want it to be seen. And it's a tough thing for B-level festivals to that do screen them in theaters. Like it's the toughest thing is getting people out, and it's I'm trying to work that out with giving back to the audiences with gift cards, making it accessible where it's not like a week-long festival or something. Like it's just one day out of the month, last Sunday of the month, which is easy to remember. It's relatively not expensive to get a ticket. And 20 bucks for the whole day is relatively not expensive. And like free popcorn refills through the entire day. It's a sweet deal for anyone who wants to go. And everybody who was an audience member there, like outside of filmmakers, they all said the same thing. They had a great time. They loved the shorts, and I feel bad because like so many people miss out. They missed out because they have an excuse not to show up or whatever, but like I feel bad because they missed out on something really great they could have seen. And so we try and our hardest to promote it. I promoted I promoted it through so many channels, and it's you know every time I ask somebody, where did you hear about us? It's like, well, I heard you guys. I was at the we're visiting from actually there's a couple visiting from California, and they
Huh.
saw a thing at the Hilton for events, and we were listed,
Oh, that's
so
cool.
that must have probably came from I'm guessing the Oklahoma t tourist website they have and all that, and so we try to put it out there, and it just depends if people want to go. It's so, whew, is it, so we're gonna try. We're gonna try to create a culture where it's like every Sunday you come out, enjoy these films that you're not going to be able to see anywhere else unless they're available. Oh, let's go there. Is there a link or a channel that people can go to watch A Rift Apart?
Right now,
Yeah,
um, no, just because it's in
still in
festivals.
festivals.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a channel in general that you share shorts or anything like that you like to
Oh,
share?
yeah, sure. I have a YouTube channel with the micro shorts and then those 248s I did, which you could actually watch that one I was talking about earlier with Rebecca and Logan on there.
Gotcha.
Um, and
Gotcha.
if you want me to, I can still send you like a copy so you can edit it and cut out that part,
Yeah.
or I don't do it from the YouTube video.
Okay. Let's see. We got about 3 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, send me a clip. Send me a clip and I'll put it in there for sure. For sure.
Okay.
And what's the name of the your YouTube channel?
It's just Déjà Rêvé Moving Pictures.
Oh, okay. So the name of your production company?
Yes.
Cool. How did
Um,
how, how did
uh,
you come up with that name? What was the
so it's weird. Like sometimes things just come to me, like music just comes to me, or stories just pop in my head. That name popped in my head. I don't know how, but
Yeah,
we all know what deja vu is,
sure.
which is experiencing that familiar thing, in your waking life. So deja rêvé is experiencing or is having that in your dream, but happen in real life.
Crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Whoa, whoa.
Yeah, I know.
Pretty
Mhm.
intense. I mean, yeah, man, you're very cerebral, man. I gotta say, it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing,
Oh,
to meet a director who, an actor, writer, musician who puts a lot of thought into these things. And it's a pleasure, man. A pleasure to meet you, a pleasure to screen your film. Hopefully next year, I think we'll open like in January or something. Hopefully, if you're open to it and you have something else, we'd love to screen it, as part of the Stay Gold. And just in general, man, thank you for the interview. Yeah, it's been a real pleasure.
yeah.
We only had about 40 minutes, but it was good, man. It was good, like getting to know you a little better. And any final words for anybody watching? Any final maybe advice? You got about like 2 minutes.
Okay, yeah. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you. It's been a great pleasure speaking with you and getting to know you as well.
Thank
And
you.
I really, really enjoyed Stay Gold. It was just a great experience. Like you said, $20 throughout the entire day, free popcorn, watching movies from all over the world that you can't see anywhere else.
Yeah,
I don't
totally.
think we can beat that. And
Yeah.
creating a culture on top of that, I think like they said in Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah, that's
thank you for that.
yeah, you're most welcome. Yeah.
But I guess overall, like to like the viewers or whatever, you never know what's going to happen. Just keep saying yes, keep playing, and keep having fun.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.